If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done, Bruce Lee. This is why we're in this part of putting the car on the road. Putting the car on the road. Your little Hot Wheel that you got there, it's putting that car on the road. The R, which we're going to jump into right now, is the blind spot. So when we go through this process, I want you to sit back, relax, and just take it in. Because the blind spot is based on the beliefs that you're operating from. Here's a question you must ask yourself if you want to accelerate, and this is every person. I have worked with the most elite athletes, CEOs, leaders, beginners, kids, and it all comes down to this question. All comes down to this question. So a performance gap is simple. You're here and you want to get here. There's a gap. My job is to close that gap and to close it quickly and ethically in alignment with your values and how fast you want to get there. So I had a client last year, and he came to me. He was a real estate investor, did deals. And he wanted to he was doing really well, but he just felt like, I know there's more, I'm holding myself back. He was actually conscious of it, but he didn't know why. So I asked him the first question, actually on this blind spot breakthrough sheet. Who do you need to be to have that? Now listen carefully. So he looks at me, he goes, what do you mean, who do I need to be to have that? I said, you're being a certain way right now, and you're not getting a result. I go, do you got that? He's like, I got that. You want a different result, that means you're going to have to do something different. He's like, I got that. I said, so who do you have to be to do that? He goes, oh, I get it. I said, Stephen, you know, I've got to be a little more assertive. A little bit, he said aggressive, but it was really being about more assertive. I said, great. So we wrote that down, and then I asked him this magical question. What are you believing about yourself that's stopping you from being assertive? He's like, what? So I got to be more assertive. What belief are you holding about yourself that's stopping you from being assertive? And he looked at me, which most people will look at me like strangely, because I'm forcing their brain to do some things. And he goes, well, what belief? Well, I just got into real estate like 5 years ago. And there's a lot of more senior people. I'm doing well, but I don't feel like I know enough. I said, awesome. So you believe you don't know enough, is that correct? He said, yes. Okay. I said, what belief are you holding about yourself to make I don't think I know enough true? And then here comes the magic. He goes, well, I don't think I deserve it. Now, it came out of his mouth, and as soon as the words came out, it was like, wanted to take it back. Well, Steve, I believe I deserve it. Well, hold on, man. You just said a word. I didn't even say anything. You see, blind spots operate in very interesting ways. There might be a part of you that feels totally confident, and there might be a part of you that feels like you don't deserve it. See, if a part of this jacket is attached to this podium, I'm pulling that podium down the hallway. The whole jacket doesn't have to be attached to it. So he started listening. Now he's a client in my one days, and I just keep asking him questions. What do you believe about yourself to make that true? And it all just came down to, he said, I don't feel good enough. Now this is a shocking statement from a successful real estate guy, but the reality is I identified a belief that was wired in many years ago that we're operating. See, he didn't want to get people uncomfortable. So he'd get there, he'd kind of, talk about deals, and he'd have a great project, a piece of property he built. He's going to do, a 12-plex or whatever on it, and he wouldn't ask for an investor. I said, do you believe in yourself? He said, yeah. I go, what's stopping you? So we identified his blind spot of feeling not good enough, and then we shifted and created a new belief system for him. So we're all operating from there, but we just brought what's in the dark into the light and started coaching new strategies. So I coached new strategies when he was in meetings to just ask for the engagement. Would you be interested in seeing this project? So I started training him just to talk it. I go, you don't even have to believe it, just talk it. But he did believe he was good enough. But when we look back at his old programming, there was some old wiring. And I'm going to show you how you get programmed. But I'm going to show you a little diagram here. That's important for you to get kind of about the blind spot. So Pat, tell me something you know, just anything.
Sky's blue.
Okay. You know that. Tell me something you don't know. You know you don't know. You know brain surgery?
No.
Okay. I want you to look, that was easy. I want you to look at the pie. That's what you know. That's what you know you don't know. The blind spot operates and you don't know it. Now your brain right now is probably like mush. It should be. You know something. You know you don't know something. You don't know it. It's why it's called a blind spot. It's why you're doing behaviors and activities that keep you stuck and struggling. Would you like to be able to break through that? Yeah. Sure. Just 3 people? Okay, who are those? Come on up here. Just kidding. Would you like to be able to break through that?
Yes.
Awesome. Because this is really the core of really pushing and accelerating and using the components of time. Because you got to believe in yourself. But if you're not getting what you want consistently, these are blind spots or parts of you. Feel like I'm lovable, not lovable, good enough, not good enough. So I'm going to give you a little journey about how the mind is created very quickly. So if you look in the blue, it's the emotional mind, subconscious mind. I'm going to do this very quickly, but I want you to understand what's going on. This is, as we get started, this first 7 years, the emotional mind is a subconscious mind. In those first 7 years, you have no ability to reject anything. It's all coming in at you. And what even makes it even more challenging for a human being, guess what? The first 2 years, you got no memory of. Because there's an area in the brain where memories start to get integrated that until about 24 months, it doesn't even get, so it's just going into your DNA. So that's the emotional mind, and that's where the old wiring starts happening. And I'm taking the time for this group so you understand it. Sometimes I just gloss, I want you to really get this. So you get wired in. Are you good enough? Are you not good enough? Be safe. Loud noises. Stressful environments. It programs. You can't say yes or no to it. It just comes in. And that's where that blind spot starts. That's where that belief starts happening. When I told you about my story, my blind spot, my belief was I was worthless and no good unless I was a high-level athlete. And my environment kept proving that to me. Because that's what I was looking for. See, when you create these, your mind starts looking for it. Anyone here decide to buy a new car and then you see them everywhere on the street? Ever happen? Yeah, there's an area in the brain you start looking for it. When you wire your blind spot, your activities start getting connected to that. And that's where you start creating a ceiling on your performance. So when you get close to a breakthrough, you'll start checking out. There's people in here that have been checking out. See, I actually don't even have to look at you. I can feel who's checking out when they're checking out. Because I've just been doing this for a long time. And it's okay, I get it. It's not like, oh, he's checking in and out, or she is. It's okay. But you need to check in if you're checking in and out. See, it's interesting. There's actually people not in the room. And I am talking about the blind spot. And some people will say, well, that's interesting. I just have deals to do. I do not believe that for 1 second. So it's their blind spot. So the emotional mind, the environment you're in, what you're believed to be or not to believe, gets wired in. Then we have the thinking mind, which is the conscious mind. So after 7, you can accept and reject whatever you want. I like pink, orange, I want to do that, I don't want to do that. And anyone that's got 7-year-olds or 8-year-olds know what I'm talking about. Here's the challenge. What do you think is telling the thinking mind how to decide?
Subconscious.
You got it. There's a big fat arrow up there. The wiring. So you're walking around going, no, I'm free of that. I can do whatever I want. So you're either going to be in worry, doubt, and fear, or abundance, prosperity, and love. These are really the two categories you're going to operate. When you close a deal, what side are you on? Love, abundance, prosperity. The highest level of performance is it doesn't matter if the deal closes or it does. Either way, you're the same. Doesn't mean that you're not working your butt off for it. But if the tide is moving you by the amount of deals that are coming in or not, this is operating. Got it?
Got it.
I love it. So these create the actions in your life. So when you're in a blind spot, it actually will stop you from seeing opportunities. Has anyone in here presented an opportunity that was a slam dunk? It's just like, it's so ridiculous that they should do that. And they go, let me think about it. Ever happened? Raise your hand besides me. And you step away from that meeting, you go, what just happened? I mean, there's the things that are on the edge, and then there's the no ways, but there's the like, it shouldn't even, like, this is no question. They say no, blind spot. When you start knowing about your blind spot and now how other people's operate, you have better communication. You'll be able to work through it, and it's by questions. But these blind spots create reactions, actions, and results. So if you're not getting the results you want in an area in your life, there is a blind spot and a belief connect. So blind spot and beliefs are connected.